But when I arrive at school that morning, every ounce of hope that I did have quickly vanishes when I hear everyone talking about what supposedly happened last night. They are all saying that Monty's parents heard him screaming sometime during the middle of the night, and thinking that he was having a nightmare, they went to check on him and found him dead. His brother Anton was in the same room and witnessed everything, and he's not taking it so well. Everybody is wondering what could have happened to him. Well, everyone except for me and Marcus, because we already know. Instantly, I think back to the fight the day before and remember how Darius knocked Monty's tooth out when he smacked him with the pliers. Then goosebumps start appearing all up and down my arms when I recall the look of pure fear and terror that Monty had on his face when he saw the tooth fairy fluttering there behind us next to the window, mischievously grinning at him as she held those 6 fingers up in the air. I was so overwhelmed with relief and excitement that we were about to catch her that I hadn't realized it at the time. But if what everybody is saying is true, then now I know that the 6th finger she was holding up stood for Monty. As much as I don't want to believe it, it all makes sense now why she didn't come for Marcus last night. I text Darius and tell him what supposedly happened. He isn't at school today, so I doubt he heard anything unless Lewis or Aaliyah heard something and already told him. Mom forced him to stay home because he had a black eye and was covered in bumps and bruises from his fight with Monty. He told her that he wrecked his bike, but I think she knows better than that. He's in shock when I tell him. He can't believe it. And when I get called to the office about an hour later during music class and see 2 police officers standing there waiting to talk to me, I know, before they even say anything, that what everyone has been whispering all morning must be true. Monty really has been killed. A feeling of pain and sadness wash over me as I step through the door. I know Monty was a huge jerk, but he still didn't deserve to die. He got what he deserved when Darius kicked his butt. The cops lead me into an empty office and instruct me to take a seat. Then they proceed to start asking me a bunch of questions. Do you know Monty Williams? I nod my head. Are the 2 of you friends? No, sir, I reply. Well, how do you know him then? Everybody knows Monty. What do you mean by that? Him, his brother Anton, and a couple of their boys are known around school for being bullies. I see. So, has he ever bullied you? I'm just about to answer and tell them all about the fight yesterday, but then I pause for a second and decide it'd probably be smarter not to say anything about it. So instead I say, Sir, I don't think my father would like me talking to you without him being here. No need to worry, Malik. We've already given him a call. He should be here shortly. Now, back to Monty. When was the last time you saw him? I'm not sure why, but that question makes me feel more like a suspect than just someone who is trying to be helpful. I already told him we go to school together, so he should know that I most likely saw him yesterday, I think to myself. I really think I should wait for my dad before I answer any more of your questions, sir. Just then, my dad comes storming into the office. How dare you question my son without me being present? One of the officers stands up. Please calm down, sir. He's not in any trouble. We just want to know if one of his classmates, a boy named Monty Williams, has been hanging around with him and his friends. Why do you need to know that? Because the boy was found deceased late last night, and the manner in which he died is awfully similar to the same way that your son's 3 friends all did. My father raises his eyebrows in surprise. Then he turns to me. Malik, this is serious. What have you all gotten yourselves into? Dad, we haven't done anything, I swear. You must have. You had to have come into contact with something like they said. That's the only thing that makes sense. Just try to remember. Have you gone anywhere that you shouldn't have? I stare down at the ground, but once my dad calls my name, I look back up at him and reply. We did go to this abandoned building downtown, the one that used to be a daycare. But that was after Frankie, Ty, and Jerome were all killed. Killed? Whoa, now hold on a minute. We have no proof that any of them were killed. Don't you mean after they died? One of the officers asks. Sorry, yeah, that's what I meant to say. Then Dad asks them, Have you already searched there? We're going to send some officers down there right now to take a look, he assures us. And that's the only place you've been? Dad asks me again. I nod my head. Then the officers tell us that if they have any other questions, they'll contact us, and then we leave and start heading home. After we've been driving for 15 minutes and nothing but silence has filled the car, suddenly I blurt out, Dad, I just thought you should know. That kid Monty that the cops were asking me about. I heard that he lost a tooth yesterday when he got into a fight. After a moment, he replies, asking, would that have anything to do with your brother's black eye? I shrug my shoulders, then look away and stare out the window. I know what you're trying to insinuate, Malik, and this is the last time that I'm going to say this. The tooth fairy isn't real. Well, actually she is. You already know that your mother is the tooth fairy. Are you trying to tell me that she's the one who hurt your friends? What kind of stupid question is that? I think to myself before replying. No, of course not. Okay then, I don't want to hear another word about it. Do you understand? With a heavy sigh, I answer, yes, I understand. Once I get home, I go straight to my room, close the door, and plop down on my bed. I feel so defeated. We have done absolutely everything we could to beat her, and no matter what we try, it's just not enough. Now 3 of our friends have paid the price, and I know it's only a matter of time before she comes for the rest of us. As I lie there silently wiping the tears that are sliding down my cheeks, there's a knock at my door. Before I can even answer, Darius opens it, walks in, and sits down on the edge of my bed. Hey, are you okay? Not really. We were all so happy and relieved when we thought she had bypassed Marcus, and now we don't know what's going to happen. She could very well come back for him whenever she feels like it. All she did was take a little detour. Darius taps my knee. Don't worry, we'll figure it out just like we always do, okay? I nod as he gets up and starts walking toward the door, but before he leaves, he turns back and asks, Hey, you didn't mention anything about the fight to Dad, did you? He's acting kind of weird, like he knows something. No, I didn't say a word. Weeks go by, and we all remain on high alert, worried about when she's going to come back. Every night, Marcus sets up the trap in his room and just waits. He hasn't been getting much sleep. None of us have. And school still sucks. Once everyone found out what really happened to Monty, once the police told them that he died by spontaneous combustion just like the rest of my friends, they started spreading rumors and teasing us again. Even though it's really annoying, I've been dealing with it okay, but Marcus seems to get really upset about it. So finally, his mom just enrolled him in cyber school. Other than that, things are pretty much still the same. Mom still won't let me and Darius leave the front yard. I'm on my way home from the bus stop now, and I'm sure that I'll find him playing basketball in the driveway, just like every other day after school. But when I walk up, he's sitting on the porch texting on his phone. Lewis is on his way to get his tooth fixed, he tells me as I sit down next to him. Finally, I was getting so tired of hearing him complaining about how all the girls thought he wasn't handsome anymore. For real, me too, Darius replies, laughing. 2 hours later, me and Darius are still outside. Now he is playing basketball, and I'm sitting on the porch watching him when his phone starts to ring. He sits the ball on the ground and places his foot on top of it so that it doesn't roll away. Then he pulls his phone from his pocket and says, It's Lewis. He must be done at his appointment. I bet he's calling to brag. He answers the call and then puts it on speakerphone. Let me guess, you look so good now that the girls are going to be flocking to you at school tomorrow. I wish, but that's never going to happen because I'll be dead tomorrow. Why do you sound so funny? And what do you mean you'll be dead tomorrow? Bruh, they put me to sleep. Wait a second, to fix a chipped tooth? That don't make no sense. I thought they only put you to sleep when you were getting your teeth pulled. A moment of silence fills the air as Darius waits for Lewis to respond. It's all my mom's fault. She gave them permission to put me to sleep and pull my wisdom teeth while I was back there getting my other tooth fixed. They pulled all 4 of them. She's coming. She's coming to get me tonight. I'm a dead man. Then we hear his mom shouting in the background.
"Will you calm down, boy? What are you talking about? She's coming for you." "Who is coming?" "You know what? Never mind. Everything you're saying right now is pure craziness. The effects of the anesthesia haven't worn off yet." "No, Mommy, I'm not crazy. You're the crazy one. You let them take my teeth. How could you do this to me? I'm your only son." "Boy, who do you think you're talking to? Give me that goddamn phone."
She screams. Then I assume she snatches it from him and hangs up, because after that, the line goes dead. If this situation wasn't as serious as I know that it is, I would probably be cracking up with laughter right now. But instead, I glance up at Darius. Now what are we going to do? The only thing that we can. He's going to have to set up the trap, just like Marcus has been doing every night until she decides to show up. Then we'll catch her just like we planned. But we still aren't even 100% sure that it's going to work. It'll definitely work. We already caught her once. If it wasn't for the cops showing up and Aaliyah having to take her foot off of the pot, we would have already had her. This time, we just have to make sure that nothing interrupts us once we catch her. The plan is foolproof. Don't worry, it's gonna work. Darius seems so sure about it that I can't help but to believe that it will work too. As soon as we see Lewis's mom's car pull into the neighborhood and go driving past our house, we rush inside and ask Mom if we can go check on him. Darius explains how he just called on his way home from the dentist and sounded kind of weird on the phone. A look of concern crosses her face as she agrees to let us go over there, but then she grabs her purse and keys and tells us that she's coming too. I give Darius a look as I think to myself, great. How are we supposed to talk to Lewis with Mom hovering around trying to listen to our every word? So the three of us head over there together, and when we arrive, Mom rings the doorbell. Lewis's mom, Cynthia, answers a moment later. "Hey, I haven't seen you guys around in a while," she says to me and my brother as she dries her hands on a dish towel. "Hello, Miss Martinez. If it's all right with you, we just wanted to come over to check on Lewis. He sounded kind of out of it on the phone," Darius tells her. "Yeah, tell me about it." "Sure, come on in," she says, opening the screen door. So we walk inside, and then she tells us, "Lewis is upstairs in his room. Go on up." Luckily, Mom follows her into the kitchen. Darius leads the way up the stairs to Lewis's bedroom. The door is already slightly ajar, so Darius pushes it the rest of the way open, and we walk right inside to find Lewis sitting in his gaming chair, still looking drowsy and a little out of it. "Hey, what was that phone call all about?" Darius asks. "It's exactly like I told you. The dentist pulled my wisdom teeth, and my mom is the one who let him do it. They didn't even ask me first." "How did that happen?" "When I got to the back and sat in the chair, the dentist told me that he was going to fix my chipped tooth, and then he put me to sleep. And when I woke up, my mom was in the room with me talking to him. That's when I realized there was a small bowl sitting next to me with 4 bloody teeth sitting in it. So I asked where they came from, and that's when my mom told me that she gave him permission to pull my wisdom teeth while I was already here, just to get it done and over with. Well, the only thing we can do now is set the plan into action, just like Marcus has been doing every night. You'll have to set up the trap until she shows up again," Darius replies. "Yeah, I guess so," Lewis agrees. Suddenly a thought crosses my mind. Or you could always sleep in your mom's room. Remember, we still don't know 100%, but maybe if an adult is around, she won't show up either. "I ain't sleeping in my mom's bedroom." "Okay, it was just a suggestion." Then Darius continues. "I know you gave Marcus your supplies to set the trap up at his house. Do you have any extras so you can set one up here tonight? My mom's gonna be pissed when she notices another pot has gone missing from her kitchen. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I got everything I'll need to set it up." Just then, Mom calls up the stairs and says that it's time to go. So we tell Lewis goodbye and then head back home. Darius calls Aaliyah to let her know what happened today, and then I give Marcus a call to let him know what's going on. I don't think it's intentional, but I hear a bit of relief in his voice when he finds out that his head isn't the only one on the chopping block anymore. Then later that night, while I wait for my mom to finish cooking dinner, I head to Darius's room. "Yeah, come in." When I enter, he's sitting in his gaming chair playing the video game and talking on his headset. "Can I watch you play?" "Sure, sit down," he tells me, motioning toward his bed. A moment later, I hear Lewis's and then Aaliyah's voice come from the TV. I sit there watching them play the game until Mom calls us down for dinner. When we return, they continue to play, and Marcus even gets on for a little while. I sit there watching them play for hours, until I start to doze off. Then, the next thing I know, Darius is shaking me awake. "Get up, something's going on." I bolt upright and stare around the room in a daze. "What's wrong?" He points to the television. The video game is paused and I can hear Lewis talking. "Hold up, I'm going to check it out now." "Check what out?" I whisper to Darius. "I don't know, he heard something, and then he thought he saw something flying around outside his room." My eyes grow big and wide as Darius assures me, "Relax, it's probably nothing." We sit there impatiently waiting for him to return. "What's taking him so long?" Aaliyah questions. I look over at Darius. I'm starting to get a bad feeling. "Just give him another minute. I'm sure he'll be right back." Seconds later, Lewis returns. "So what was it?" Marcus asks. "I don't know. By the time I got out there, it was gone. Probably just a bug flying around or something," he replies. I breathe a huge sigh of relief and lie back down on Darius's bed, and then he sits back down in his gaming chair and the four of them go back to playing the game. Then about an hour later, suddenly, we hear an ear-splitting scream. "What in the hell was that?" Aaliyah questions. That's when Darius gets serious. "Lewis, stop playing around." "Lewis! Lewis, for real, stop playing. Say something." As the four of us all shout over each other, calling Lewis's name again and again, we still get no response. So finally Darius grabs his baseball bat from his closet and starts heading to the door. I'm not gonna let her kill the only friend I got left. Then I snatch a tennis racket from the closet and chase after him. "Wait for me." Then we rush out the front door, start running down the street toward Lewis's house, and run into Aaliyah when we're halfway there. As we get closer to his house, a feeling of dread engulfs me, thinking about what we're about to find. Then images start running through my mind of Jerome's bloody corpse sitting on Darius's bed, then Frankie's head exploding right before my eyes, and then the tooth fairy with her creepy, sinister grin, lifting her tiny fingers into the air and then lowering them one by one every time she kills one of us. I can see the same look on Darius and Aaliyah's face too. They must be thinking of the worst outcome just like I am. Right when we get to his house and approach his bedroom window, all we can see is the slight glow of the PlayStation screen on his TV lighting up his room. Everything else is dark. Until... the window slams open, and Lewis's head appears, scaring the shit out of all of us, causing us to jump. That's when the pot drops on his head, and thinking that she must have got him, he starts losing his mind. "Yo, will you calm down?" Darius tells him as he tries to lift the pot off of him, letting out a few chuckles. Once Lewis finally realizes what's going on, he looks at us embarrassed. "Where is she? Where did she go?" Aaliyah asks. "What are you talking about? We heard you scream and we thought..." "Nah, that wasn't me." "Well then why didn't you answer us when we were calling your name?" I question. "That scream scared the crap out of me and I jerked back when I heard it. My headphone jack ripped right out of the PlayStation, and by the time that I got it hooked back up, you all must have already been on your way over here." "Well then who was it then?" Aaliyah asks. "It had to be Marcus. I was just about to go over there to check on him. That's why I was climbing out the window." As soon as Lewis's sentence ends, a rush of adrenaline hits me, thinking my friend is in trouble, and the words play back in my mind that Darius just said to me. "I won't let her kill the only friend I have left." And that's exactly what I'm thinking at that moment. So I turn and start running down the street in the opposite direction toward Marcus's house. A second later, Darius and Aaliyah are right behind me. Lewis is still trying to climb out the window as he shouts, "Hey, wait up! Wait for me!" Panic washes over me as I think about what we're going to find when we get there. When we arrive at his house, I go running around to the back where his room is, and that's when the back door bursts open and a dark shadow goes running into the darkness and disappears into the woods. "What in the hell was that all about?" Darius asks. I start furiously banging on Marcus's bedroom window, and that's when I see him lying on his bedroom floor, his mouth all bloody. Aaliyah lifts the window, and my brother helps me inside first. Then him and Aaliyah climb in after me. I can hear his mom pounding on his bedroom door, screaming his name. A moment later, Lewis finally makes it there and climbs through the window too. I kneel on the floor next to Marcus and examine his mouth. 2 of his front teeth are gone, and 3 others are broken, cracked, and missing pieces. They have jagged edges, like they've just been ripped out. "Did the tooth fairy do this to you?" I ask. He's crying so hard that he can barely even talk. He tries to answer, but with all of the blood gushing out of his mouth, he just stutters the first few times. Then he starts coughing, almost choking on the blood until finally he manages to get it out. "No, it was Anton." Before he can say anything else, his mom finally busts the door down. I can only assume she threw her whole body at it as the door jamb came flying off and landed on the other side of the room. She comes rushing in, and when she sees her son lying on the floor with his mouth all bloody, and she sees the 4 of us surrounding him, she screams, "What the hell is going on? What did you do to my baby?" As Darius, Aaliyah, and Lewis all stand there arguing with her, trying to tell her that it wasn't us, we're not the ones who hurt him. All I can think is that now we have 2 friends who may not survive the night. Don't forget to subscribe for new stories weekly. See you next time on
Nina's Nightmares.
Really? You're supposed to click the like button, not me. Ugh.